Woo! What's up, y'all? I just did I don't even call it a training. I did it was kind of like a rant a little bit inside of my private group. And it was so good that I had to bring it to everybody publicly and share it here. And so we'll probably put this on the Undeniable Expert podcast platform. But I wanted to share just these two announcements and one rant. So each announcement actually turned into a rant, which I thought was pretty cool. But if you are listening to this on our podcast or on YouTube or whatnot, then for sure, the Undeniable Expert is a place that experts can show themselves to be undeniable by giving master classes, by having interviews and having conversations with me and other people on my team, specifically around their expertise. So the first announcement is this Saturday, as I'm recording this Saturday, September 21st, I'm having a perfect pitch summit where I'm going to be asking questions to a panel of TV producers, journalists up and down the East Coast that are going to be basically answering the question of how to get pitched on television, how to get your small business pitched on TV. So you should come to that if you're watching this, if you're listening to this and you're able to. This is a timely thing. So if you're listening to this months from now, you won't be able to come, obviously, September 21st, but you should come. And the reason why you should come to that, even if you think to yourself, you know what, I don't want to be on TV, I don't want to be in the media. If you don't have a business, cool. If you do have a business, you should absolutely want to be in the media. If you have a front facing business, if you have a personal brand of some sort, you should absolutely want to be on the media because that's how people blow up. And when these journalists are telling you how to pitch them, guess what you can do? You can go about pitching journalists the same way they ask to be pitched, right? So you should come. So that's the first announcement. September 21st, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You should come. You should be there. Announcement number two is you should be in Dallas. And this is where I kind of started ranting a little bit. But if I am looking for somebody that does what you do, and I don't have a relationship with you, what is the easiest way for you to warm up to me? Whenever I ask that question, people say, oh, having a conversation, meeting somebody in person, that's the best way. Well, if you can't do that, the next best thing is video. High quality video. That's why we have our Dallas event, to get you high quality, professional video so that when people see you, they think to themselves, I wonder who that person is. I'll give you an example. For those of you that are looking, some of you on Instagram, you can't really see, but if you're looking either on YouTube, if you're looking on Facebook or whatnot, my setup is pretty professional. Yes. That's because I am recording from a DSLR Canon camera and not my dusty MacBook Pro webcam. There's a reason why. There's a reason why I have this Shure mic right here and not just the airy mic. So that when I'm on calls with clients, as soon as they log into the little Zoomy Zoom, they say, oh, that's professional. Oh, that's different. That's what I want them to think. He's professional. He's different. Period. That doesn't mean that I'm going to get the contract every single time, but that does mean in their mind, they're thinking, he's professional. He's different. Because everybody else around you does the same thing that you do. I need you to get that. In order to stand out from the competition, you've got to recognize that there's competition. And I know people make up all these things. They try to be, super deep about it. There is no competition. It's only me competing with myself. That's true. to a point. Once you start getting in front of prospects that can choose you to pay or them, then you're in competition with other people. If you want to make yourself feel better about getting rejected, I understand. If you want to make yourself feel better about making progress, even though it doesn't necessarily translate to, money at the time, I understand. I get it. I'm my best competition. Maybe that's a better thing to say. But if you are in a business and you want to get clients, you're in competition. So you have to learn, well, how do I separate myself from the competition? And one of the best ways, if you have a service business, especially if you have a front facing business where you are the personal brand that is offering or selling the service, professional video. Lights. I don't even have all my lights on here, but it just makes a difference. I don't know why. You can hypothesize about why, but it just makes a difference. So you should come to Dallas. And we have a special going on. If you're interested in that, then just reach out to me. But we have a special going on for our October 4th, October 5th. That's in 2 weeks. So if you're not near Dallas, probably wouldn't be the best move for you. But we also have another event coming up before the year is up. So that's something for you to consider. So those are the two announcements. Here is the rant. Y'all ready for the rant? Y'all ready for the rant? Y'all ready for the rant? All right. And this is one of those rants that I'm not upset at you, but you probably need to hear it. I had a very spirited conversation with my kids last week. Classic dad conversation with my kids. It was my oldest and my youngest that they just were getting on my nerves, and I had to let them know. You know what I mean? As a parent, you got to let them know sometimes. And my middle girl, she didn't do anything, but I told her, I said, "You need to be there. You need to be there, just so you can hear it, just in case you want to get out of line." So the rant that I'm about to give is not like, I'm not mad at you. I don't know you specifically that are watching, that are listening. I don't know you. But this is me ranting to me, and it's probably something you need to hear. So I have two books that I completed this year, one on marketing and one on positive relationships for college students. And I was wondering, I was like, how am I gonna release these books? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna share content? Like, how am I gonna do all that? Like, you ever think about that? Like, how am I gonna consistently share content? How am I going to, do all of these things? And today I made a decision. I said, I'm gonna go live every day for 2 weeks. I'm just going to go live every day for 2 weeks. So as I was thinking about that plan, I said, well, what can I talk about? What am I going to talk about over here? What am I going to talk about over here? Because my audience on LinkedIn is primarily for speaking engagements. So I'm not going to say the same things on LinkedIn that I say on Instagram, that I say on Facebook. So I got to figure this out. And I said, I got 2 books coming out. I said, why don't I just literally get on, and I use StreamYard, and I can share my screen. I'll just read some of the introduction and talk about it. That'll be part 1. So I do that. It was easy. It was fun. And I said, man, I just got halfway through the introduction. I said, I could come back tomorrow, do the rest of the introduction. I could come back and do chapter 1. I could go back and go deeper into something that I hadn't. And it's interactive because I'm sharing my screen and doing all of that. I said, and it could be like 10 minutes. And then here's the rant. Here's the part that you're going to get this. You're going to get this, hopefully. I said, I've written 10 books. I've done hundreds of presentations. Why aren't I bombarding the people that follow me with what I do? Why aren't they getting sick and tired of me sharing my stuff? And that was the thought. That was it. That was like, why aren't they getting sick and tired of me? Because I'm not sharing enough. And I think if you're honest, as I'm being honest with myself, I'm just not sharing enough consistently. That's the rant. You're not sharing enough consistently. You're not putting your best foot forward or any foot forward consistently. Just yesterday, legendary member of what I believe the greatest musical family of all time, the Jacksons, Tito Jackson, passed away, 70 years young. And it was funny, I had just watched Jackson's An American Dream on YouTube this weekend. And I looked at the movie and I love the movie, but one thing that I often say, I say it in my trainings a lot. Michael Jackson became the king of pop because he was the prince of soul first. And if you go back and look at the Jacksons' discography, in fact, as a fun part of this, I'm going to share my screen. Instagram, you won't be able to see it, but it's all good. I'm going to share my screen. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go right into this. Share my screen. And I'm going to put Jackson 5 discography. And I'm going to show you this. Let me see if they list it like they did before. There it is on Wikipedia. If you're able to see this, then you're seeing it. If not, I want you to look at that. So you can't see it, but I'm going to talk to you through it. 16 studio albums. 16 studio albums. 3 live albums. 15 compilation albums. 14 music videos. 40 singles. 2 soundtrack albums. Let's go down a little further. And this is why. So 1969, the end of 1969, they have album number 1. 1970, they have album number 2. 1970 again, they have album number 3, album number 4, album number 5. So they first released in 1969. Between 1969 and 1975, they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 albums. 10 albums in 6 years. Now, I'm a Michael Jackson geek, love the Jacksons. I've heard all these albums. All of them are not great, but a good chunk of them are. That's 1975. Then they left Motown. They had the Jacksons, 76, 77. So I'm just going to count these off really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. From 1969 to 1980. That's 11 years. They did 14 studio albums. Why was Michael Jackson the king of pop? Because him and his brothers were doing like more than one album every year in the 1970s. So by the time he released Off the Wall at the end of 1979, I was like, oh, Michael Jackson. Then Thriller. I said all that to say he was always in your face. Always. So for us, What are we doing? You know, drop your album. Continue. Show up. If you have a book, and this, I'll make this instructive. If you have a book, why share the book, read the book, do nighttime reading, do something with the book. If you have a podcast, do a behind the scenes. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm about to shoot my podcast. I'm about to do whatever. Like, do behind the scenes. Do something consistently. Consistently doesn't have to be every day. It could be every week. It could be every other week. It could be recorded. Like, you could record videos and then just drop them joints. You can schedule in different platforms to just drop them. But the rant, again, it's more for me than it is for you, but I hope you're getting something out of it. We just don't know enough about you to pay you yet. That's it. Odds are you got great stuff. We just don't know. We just don't know enough about you. And now the way things are, people are super tight with their money. And people have always been tight with their money. People have been, loose with their money. So there's always both sides of it. Some people just throw money at all these things. But as a human species, we evolve. So there's only going to be a certain number of times that somebody's going to get had about something. So there's only going to be a certain number of times somebody's going to walk around a corner and be like, yeah, I'll get hit upside the head. They're going to look first. They're going to, you know what? I'm going to go the other way. So you have to consistently show up. If you don't, you'll be out of business. If you don't, that's the rant. Hopefully this helped you. If you listen to this on our podcast, you're like, Odell, what's going on? Hey, just wanted to share what was on my heart. But hopefully I see you sharing stuff and doing more stuff so that we see more of your stuff. And hey, if not, it's all good. There are plenty of jobs out there. Odell out.